so much of perspective I can bring to the tariff question. Because one thing you rightly said, every time a new low price was discovered through the price discovery process of reverse auctions, there were a lot of question marks about whether that is viable. And I remember that happening from the 4.63 tariff when that came up. There was a section that believed that these prices were overly aggressive, and we are now down to 2 rupees, and that comment remains, right? But what we are forgetting, that 4.63 was not that long ago. So it's barely been like 3-4 years since that would have been executed, right? Maybe after execution, less than 3 years. So it's still early stages. But obviously, the 3 or 4 things that I would like to say is, companies that have bid are large, responsible companies. The financial institutions involved are reputed global players, right? The whole project the process is being conducted by SECI. Yeah. So it's not a question of fly-by operators or any of that happening here. There is, and in many cases there was not just this fact that we wanted to make it entry pricing. I refer to the discount pricing. The entry pricing is a likely possibility for some players, but not for everybody. But they have all bid similar prices. So one hopes it has been executed to quality, and that like I said, the oldest one would be like 3-4 years old. Early days in the life cycle of this project. One hopes that they've been built to last, built with quality. The equipment is being maintained and serviced regularly. Time will tell. It's very difficult to say that it is impossible, or it is unviable, or it is we just have to wait and see.
Okay, thank you. We started, those who have joined late, started this, and the NSCFI representative has rightly put the entire roadmap, how we are going to achieve the balance thing. In that, I would like to touch upon two important aspects. One is the RPO and its implementation. And another point which is related to that is the captive power plant of the industry, like cement, steel, chemicals, where we are on that, adhering to the RPO and insisting or adhering to that for the industrial captive power plant. Will it not help in achieving the target by 31st December 2022? So again, I come back to Mr. Jain on that, because it is more on the regulatory and government policy thing. But of course, I will come to the other participants also. So that is definitely main issue lies on government policy. What exactly, because every DISCOM is having its own policy. They have set certain ceiling on the capacity, especially when you talk about rooftop. But otherwise also, they are discouraging this networking also. They are having their own, one state is made certain policies, and others are also following. UP started with something, then Maharashtra also followed, and these things are going on. But it is not the only matter. Another issue is what the user wants, like in telecom. When the telecom market started in India, everybody was having its own set of towers and other infrastructure and other things. But now everybody is going in for services. See, they simply want to hire the tower and other BTS and other. Same trend is going on with solar. People are asking for resto. They want tariff-based facilities. They don't want to own the solar power plant. So captive nobody wants to have their own solar power plant. They would rather prefer that somebody else invest and sell them the electricity at a very low price. That's what tariff where we got. So that aspect is relevant because if you approach any big industry, let's say like Tata or others, they started with their own power plant. But now all these people are opting for REST system and they would prefer somebody else to invest for them. Before coming to the next aspect on, I would like to ask you how you look at this because you are also in CNI and you mentioned about that. This will ultimately come under that. So how you look and how that then is going to help in achieving the target and in a meaningful way to achieve the target. So lower tariffs are a factor. Like the lower the tariffs are, the bigger the market is. Kind of straightforward correlation there, right? Once again, I would say that the bigger hurdles to meeting, we have underperformed when it comes to the what we refer to as the rooftop market, the behind the meter residential. Of the 40 gigawatts, we are only at around 4 gigawatts, right? The big target was 40 gigawatts, and we are only at around 4. And chances are that by 2022 end, we are not going to get to more than, say, the best case scenario is like 10 gigawatts, unless something drastically changes between now and then. And even then, the impact would take time to show up. Right. So again, the biggest thing there would be if last year, rather this year, earlier this year, there was a bill of the revised electricity act revision on the table. On a legal footing, where the cost to serve becomes more better reflected in the tariff. And there is a transparency around open access and RTO's requirements across the country. Transparency and some degree of uniformity. If those things happen, then economics wise, there's no problem, and scale wise also there should not be any problem. So, would you like to comment on this? Particularly on the captive power plants, which are as per the Supreme Court verdict, they are also obligated. Where are we as far as that? Why I am asking this question is there are many challenges when we are getting into how we will achieve. This is one area where if it is implemented, if it is adhered to, it is going to give a lot of opportunities to every stakeholder. So from that point of view, how you look at it? As because in India, we are not into this segment, but internationally, definitely we are into this segment because we are the largest among the others in Singapore. So we are definitely doing this thing, but the policy is definitely much in favor of that because they do have such a policy that is governing the overall CNI and the market. But in India, definitely we have tried to do that, but we kept it as a hold as of now. But we are not out of that, but we are still trying to achieve something because we are into discussion with others for the captive and other solutions also. But because of COVID situation, definitely that is something we hold those things. Definitely we will come into that. But the thing is that definitely I see a very good possibility for CNI because the rooftop and also not only the solar, replacement of the diesel generator with the BESS system in the longer run, definitely it will be a prospect for the country because definitely the diesel prices are going shooting up like anything. So BESS cost that everyone is talking about now, levelized cost is coming around the 8, 10, 12 kind of thing. But definitely it will be much lower if, but definitely I don't know if the grid scenario improves, will that segment will also be in a favor of someone or not. Because daily the grid tariffs are increasing, but also the electricity with increase of tariffs, the grid stability is also increasing. So we need to see the check and balance between. Mr. Somani, you want to add on this? Okay. So I'm coming to the other aspect. Again, why I am raising this point? Because how the existing infrastructure, how the existing challenges can become a solution. And there I am coming first to Ritu. There was a discussion on RGO, that is renewable generation obligation. Now there are thermal power plants, fossil fuel power plants. They are already established. They are already supplying to me. And it is always better that after 10 to 11 years of journey, a successful journey, we can look back and see where we can improve on. Now, in the initial bidding, it was a bundling of the power by the NVVN. And that is where I am trying to correlate that how this RGO, because it was there, it didn't pursue further, people, the stakeholder did not pursue. So whether RGO can be another easy solution to this, there is one more aspect I want to touch upon, so that I will put this question into a right perspective. When we have such a large amount of renewable energy, which is the income nature, coming into the grid, these power plants have to back up. And when those are backing down, the DISCOMs have to still pay the fixed charge. Now it is becoming another point of concern for the DISCOM. If this RGO is implemented, we have lost this 8 or 9 months or 10 months, as you have said. So where we can infuse once again the RGO, and because it is a part of regulatory and institutional thing. So Ritu, over to you.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I'd like to answer that in two parts. Okay. Whether you talk of RGO, which is like a generation obligation, or whether it is a purchase obligation, that is not going to change one thing, which is that if there is over generation at any point in time and a mismatch, some of the generating units, whichever one it is, whether it is a thermal, whether it is a renewable, it has gone beyond capacity, something will have to be backed down, right? So a policy on RGO is not going to change this reality. It might change something on the commercial impact of the entities involved, whether at the production side or at the purchasing side. But the core problem of oversupply during a limited period is not going to go away. RPOs to me are not really that different from, the purpose is solved whether it's through an RPO or through an RGO. It simply means that, I need to have either produced it myself and claim RPOs, or if I am not able to produce it myself, I can buy from somebody else who produces and is not utilizing it. Therefore, I again have somewhere contributed to renewable generation. The second issue that you raised, with or without this, is a very real concern. That when there is excess of some renewable source of generation, whether it is wind, whether it is solar, and if these are on priority, must-run status, then the thermal plant is made to back down. And that backing down has several repercussions. It has a repercussion on the cost, first of all, for the buyer or the operator, because unlike solar, where there is no break between fuel and fixed costs, there is no variable, there is no fuel. Fuel is the sunlight. Fixed cost is equal to variable cost. 100% of the cost is upfront during investment. Here you're still having to pay some amount of fixed cost. That is one. The second is that when they back down, their efficiencies go away. And from some presentations which I have been party to by NTPC, etc., they say that maintaining the emission efficiency also then goes down. So your emissions, especially the SOx, NOx emissions, start to get more disturbed. That is something that they have said. The third thing they say is that all of this backing down and backing up again, the wear and tear, the maintenance, etc., all of that also comes in, apart from the obvious fact that you are not able to run whatever ideal capacity that you are running. Similar problems if you make me back down a solar plant, for which the PPA has been set at must-run status. If that is how I have priced my PPA, there is a problem. If I want to price my PPA at 80%, I could do that, but then again, somebody, and usually the off-taker pays for those inefficiencies. Now that discussion has shifted to, okay, these are renewable sources of generation. Storage is becoming more and more, by the day storage is dropping. A year back, I think storage was 200, in the range of 200, 250. I see it today slightly above 100 as of now. Let's see if that trend continues. So it is like 127 was a number which I was reading just about earlier this week. Storage becoming viable will help a lot. And this is something which I have even discussed, within the ministry. Where we said, why do we back down thermal power? Why don't we store this thermal power? What stops us? Why is the entire conversation around storage only for renewable? Anything can be stored, right? Energy, electricity produced can be stored. And if we look at the cost of, all of these other factors that I mentioned, from emissions going out of whack to the excess wear and tear, to, the DISCOM having to pay. And if we look at storing this excess generated by thermal units into batteries, perhaps the overall cost will be lower because the cheapest thermal is still cheaper than the cheapest solar. And I think in the during this conference itself, we found this news that 2 rupees has also been reached. We are now down to 1.99. So that news just came to me about 20 minutes back. That is one option that we can look at. And instead of the entire focus on renewables being stored and then used, anything can be stored. And if you were to just be very pedantic about the cost of storage, because thermal will be the cheapest source of generation, store that, the average cost of storage will also come down. So that is some thing that we can look forward to in the future, perhaps. I know I've answered it slightly differently from how you'd asked, but this is my perspective.
No, that's a very, very important input and very important aspect. I would like to come to NSEFI, because there was one concern raised also in this conference so far, that how this